Hi, She Seeks. It's Juliana, and I am checking in on Lisa's post today. And I love this post because forgiveness is something that I have a really hard time with, and it's something that I don't do very easily or naturally. I don't know if anybody really forgives naturally, but I know for me it's extra hard because I I I would rather deal with the anger than let it go. And I know that's not right, and it's definitely a fault in my life that God is working through. And I think my favorite line that Lisa wrote in this post was the evidence of the owings, quote unquote. She talked about this box of just stuff that reminded you of people who had disappointed us, people who had hurt us, people who had let us down. And so she's talking about, you owed me. All these people owed me all these things. So the evidence of the owings in my box was not going to restore what was already stolen. Whole seasons of my life were robbed by anger, and I could never be paid back in full. And it's getting to that point where we realize, and I think we've all been here, where I wasted a whole season being angry at somebody or something or some circumstance, or sometimes it's even God. And I could have let it go and lived life a little bit more fully. But once we're in that anger and when we're in that sin or in that idea, or maybe you were rightly wronged. Maybe you were angry because you were wronged. So your anger was righteous, but you holding that bitterness or that unforgiveness was not right. And so it begins to eat at you, and I know for me it begins to consume my thoughts and to consume my feelings, and I act differently, and I start acting out on the people that are closest to me because I haven't let it go and I haven't given it to God. And Colossians 3, this is my favorite passage in the whole Bible. The whole chapter is awesome. I'm not going to read you the whole chapter, but Colossians 3, I would encourage you to read it, but we're going to start in verse 12, where it says, "Put on then, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another. And if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive them as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony." And some translations say unity. And so I love that because it's acknowledging who we are, that we are still sinful people, but that God has chosen us. God has chosen me, and God has chosen you for something greater. And that if we harbor bitterness or harbor unforgiveness, then we're never going to allow ourselves to become the amazing people that God has called us to be, because there will be no unity between us and that person. And so I think that one thing Lisa was talking about in here was letting it go for the sake of your character, letting it go for the sake of your life, letting it go for the sake of joy. So I love it. I'm just reading this last line here. It says, "I felt free as a bird." And some of you might have that feeling. Some of you might not. Some of you might forgive and be like, I feel exactly the same, but it's still this idea of constantly letting it go and giving it to God and just trusting that those feelings and those emotions will follow. So I'm right there with you, forgiveness, and I will be encouraging you, as I hope that you will continue to encourage us, as we are God's holy people, chosen for greater things, and that forgiveness will only continue to hold us back. So God bless you. We are praying for you, and I hope you have a good rest of the week.